Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be a part 2 of my previous video. In my previous video, I showed you a demonstration of writing using AI tools, especially scientific writing. But in today's video, I'll be showing you how to conduct a deep literature review using AI in just minutes. So again, what I like about SciSpace is that it combines all of the research tools that you need in one place. And I covered all of these features in my previous video, but recently they came out with a very interesting feature which is called Deep Review. The Deep Review feature conducts a literature review in minutes. How that works is very simple. All you have to do is open SciSpace and then click the Deep Review feature and then start your query. Your query can be as simple as the one that I'm typing right here. I'm only just typing rosemary, and I'm basically just interested in the cognitive and memory enhancement effects of rosemary essential oil. You can see that the deep review feature doesn't take long before it discusses this query with you, and it shows you the research steps, so it doesn't go directly into the data collection type of phase. It engages in a sort of a back and forth with you. So here it's trying to enhance the query by asking me a couple of questions. It's asking me if I'm interested in specific age groups and if I'd like to focus on any particular cognitive function. As you can tell, my research query is quite broad, so I'd like to narrow it down a little bit to make it more specific. I'm basically just interested in memory recall and the effects of rosemary essential oil on memory, so I type that. And this is when SciSpace presents me with an updated query, and it's basically asking me if I like this query and I would like to proceed with it. Then I'll click submit now, and you can tell that the new query focuses more on memory recall. Then it's asking me if I'm interested in studying the effects of rosemary essential oil on memory recall in specific settings such as clinical trials, which yes, I am interested in clinical trials specifically, so I'm going to be updating the query and responding with clinical trials starting from 2020 because I'm only interested in recent papers. Now it's asking further questions if I'd like to narrow the review down to a specific country or region, but I don't want that. And it's also asking if I'm willing to explore methodologies used in these clinical trials, but I'm not interested, so I'll basically just choose this query. And right after that, it begins a cascade of searching the SciSpace index for articles to draw from. As it goes, it basically narrows down the articles to the most relevant ones, and it even shows you the steps that it takes for that process to happen. So it doesn't just give you the end result, it also shows you the step-by-step kind of process. And as you go through the process, you can see all of the papers that are then narrowed down. You can tell that it extracted 62 relevant papers out of over 1,700 papers. So it basically conducted a literature review with all of the possible relevant papers available, narrowing it down to the specific query that I entered. And then it gives you the results in a form of bullet points and sections and subsections. As you can see, it's showing me an answer from the top 20 papers that it found conducting this deep review, and it's showing me the answer in the form of questions and sections and subsections as well as bullet points. You can also see that it answered every bit of my query, showing me a broad paragraph in the beginning on how rosemary essential oil affects cognitive function and memory as a whole, and then it dissected the query and the relevant answers that it found in the papers, and then it listed the findings in a numbered list. So first it goes over the neuroprotective effects and cognitive enhancement, and it shows the top papers relevant to this. Then it went over the effects on memory in different populations, like the elderly patients. Then it kind of narrows it down a bit more by going over the mechanisms of action. And before it goes into the clinical trials, it also shows us the animal studies and preclinical evidence, so you can have a logical sequence of events, because after that it goes into the clinical trials and human studies. You can also see that it cited all of these papers. If you click on any of these citations, it redirects you to that specific paper in the source analysis table that shows you insights on the paper and tells you basically what it's about. Now you can fact check every statement in that literature review. As you know from the previous video, you can just chat with any paper and kind of ask it any questions. So now I want to make sure that this paper actually says what I think it says. I'm just interested in the methodologies used in the study, so I'll just pick that question and I'll choose the high quality feature. And the answer kind of lists all the methodologies. So it shows me that it was a double-blind, randomized controlled trial design and how they picked the participants. And you can save that answer to your notebook if you're collecting information. We can go back to the paper and listen to a quick podcast about it. The podcast feature, I've gone over it in my previous video. So it's basically just listening to two people discussing the paper, asking each other questions. You can go to my previous video, which I'm going to be linking in the description, to see that feature fully. You can also save this paper or bookmark it in any of the collections that you can create. Next, I just want to explore the other paper right here. So what I'm going to be doing is just kind of skimming over the abstract, and then I'll be asking a simple question to the chat to make sure that I understood it correctly. Go back to the insights table and see the main insights of the study. You can also do that and save the insights to your notebook. So back to the review, if you scroll down, you also see limitations and future directions, which is a key part in any scientific paper because it points you to what the next best step would be. You can edit the citation style in any way that you like. So I can just change it from the author date format to a numbered list. When you click on the citation again, it is linked to the papers. When you save that review to your notebook, you can basically just edit it, and you can see that the whole reference list is linked to the citations. Again, back to the literature view, you can go back to the research steps anytime you like to check the process and to see any of the papers that were even picked from. Here you can see step by step the whole deep thinking process. So currently it draws from the SciSpace index. However, there is an upcoming feature called browser control, which is going to make the deep review feature even more helpful because it's going to be drawing from other databases, not just SciSpace. It's going to be including Google Scholar, PubMed, ScienceDirect, and more. You basically do the same steps, but then the deep review feature draws from other databases. So it goes to Google Scholar and types the query and then searches for the most relevant paper. And even if they're behind paywalls and you have access to the journal and you have the institutional email address, you can type that and then it accesses the paper for you. So that sounds really helpful and it makes sure that you don't miss a single paper. Very excited about this feature. I'm going to be leaving links to all of these features in the description. SciSpace is free to use. However, if you'd like to explore the premium features, I'll be leaving discount codes in the description. Don't forget to check them out. And you'll also find the waitlist joining link for the upcoming feature, browser control. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I'm going to see you in the next one.